Namaskar. Please settle down. Namaste. Good afternoon. On this auspicious occasion of Vaishak Purnima, we have gathered to celebrate the birth, enlightenment and attainment of Mahasamadhi by Lord Buddha. On behalf of the Ambassador of India to the United States, Shri Taranjit Singh Sandhu, and the Embassy of India, I welcome the Venerable monk, scholars from International Buddhist Association of America, International Buddhist Confederation, and Indian Diaspora, and Erica from White House. I will begin by sharing the Buddha Purnima message from Honorable Prime Minister, which he gave this morning, Shri Narendra Modi ji. Greetings on Buddha Purnima. May the ideals of Lord Buddha keep showing light and giving strength to us all. Now I invite Ambassador of India to the United States, Shri Taranjit Singh Sandhu, President of IBAA, Ms. Wangmo Dikse, Ms. Erica, Venerable Uparatna from Sri Lanka, Venerable Khanpaula, and Venerable from Cambodia to light the candles and pay floral tribute to Lord Buddha. Thank you. I would now invite our ambassador for his remarks.
President and members of International Buddhist Association of America, respected monks from India, from many other countries, Erica, Deputy to the President Biden, my dear colleague, the Deputy Ambassador, Ambassador Sri Priya Ranganathan, academics, students, media, and of course, the wonderful Indian diaspora, colleagues from my embassy and dear friends. Namaskar, good afternoon. On this auspicious occasion, let me first extend warmest greetings of Buddha Purnima. All of you know today is a sacred day, and across many different cultures in the world of Buddhist philosophy, we celebrate Lord Buddha's birth anniversary, and in some countries also his enlightenment or parinirvana. Buddhism is amongst the greatest gifts from India, stretching back to more than 2,500 years, and it's practiced in more than 100 countries today. It's a strong unifying factor. I have learnt in my previous assignment in Sri Lanka and witnessed how strong our shared Buddhist heritage is. Under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi, the Government of India is keen to strengthen the people-to-people linkages weaved through the common thread of Buddhism. And I recall in 2017, Prime Minister Modi's historic visit to Sri Lanka as the chief guest of International Vesak Day celebrations. Several initiatives since then, like the development of Buddha Circuit in India and Nepal, rejuvenation of pilgrimage centers like Sarnath and Kushinagar, inauguration of Kushinagar International Airport, the International India Center for Buddhist Culture and Heritage in Lumbini, with cooperation of India and the International Buddhist Confederation, assistance to several countries in India's neighborhood, Southeast Asia, for construction and renovation of Buddhist monasteries, and joint projects to be set up, international centers and museums for Buddhist culture and heritage are just few examples of India's efforts. The first Global Buddhist Summit was successfully organized in India last month, where scholars from across the world participated. Dear friends, in a world which is facing multiple challenges today in form of pandemic, terrorism, environmental degradation and like, there is no problem for which solutions could not be found in the teachings of Lord Buddha. As Lord Buddha said, be your own light. And he showed us the path which he himself had lived. India has been deeply influenced by the Buddhist philosophy and has been working with like-minded partners, including the United States, in addressing the diverse headwinds that we face. This is manifested in many ways. As one of the first responders during disasters, and I recall in Sri Lanka when the floods came in 1997. Then to fight COVID-19 pandemic, more than 100 countries were supplied by vaccines by India. Mission Life, promotion of millets, yoga, the unifying spirit in the theme of India's G20 presidency, Vasudev Kutumbakam, one earth, one family, one future. And I'll end with a quote from Lord Buddha, who said, "We are what we think. All that we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we make the world." May the Triple Gem bless you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I now request President of International Buddhist Association of America, Ms. Wangmo Dixie, for her remarks.
Dear honored Bantes, Venerable Mahasangha, Ambassador, and Lamas, and distinguished guests, my heart is full of joy to see the holy day of Vesak celebrated in such a grand way at the White House. This was a historical moment for all of us. Through the kind friendship of the Biden administration, this was the first time that we had the lighting of the lamp. So on behalf of Buddhists in America, this is a profound moment for us, and this is our third year that we're coming together. And we just came from the celebration where the room was much more grand, and it had not only the three different venerable communities of the Theravada, Mahayana, and Vajrayana, coming together, to work together, to know each other, to sit together, eat food together, but also to join with our friends in the diplomatic community of Sri Lanka, Nepal, Indonesia, Mongolia, and many others. And I do believe that every year this is going to bring us together as a symbolic way for us to remember what is the message of the Buddha. So, to see so many gathered in honor of the Blessed One underscores the task which we have taken at the International Buddhist Association of America, namely to bring all Buddhist Sanghas in our great country together, so we can speak with a unified voice and to offer the deep wisdom of the Buddha Dharma, the treasure held within the great tradition we all share, so we can bring its healing balm to our troubled times and offer what we can to our homeland of the United States. But today I would like to talk about something else, namely my deep and abiding love for another homeland, this time the motherland itself, the land of Buddha. My first visit to Bodh Gaya, the seat of enlightenment, was when I was 5 years old. I traveled there with my mother, who worked tirelessly to offer support to the thousands of Tibetan refugees that India had so graciously accepted following the flight from Tibet in 1958. Even today, I meet monks and lamas who recount their stories of her great kindness. But it was really in 2006 that my annual visit began, when encouraged and supported by my father, that I began to work with the local abbots in Bodh Gaya to encourage the great international Buddhist Sanghas of the Theravada to return to India in large numbers and to help revitalize the Buddhist culture in its own homeland. Since then, the charity, the Light of Buddha Dharma Foundation, has hosted more than 70 prayer ceremonies where international monks join their Indian fellow monastics and assemble in the traditional manner to chant from the teachings of the Buddha in Pali. Now, in its 18th year, the International Tipitaka Chanting Ceremony in Bodh Gaya is the largest international gathering of the Theravadan school and has attracted over 100,000 participants from 10 countries since its inception. Supported by both the IBC and the government of Uttar Pradesh, we have also sponsored other prayer ceremonies at the ancient sites of pilgrimage, installed great Dharma bells for world peace in the 13 locations that the Buddha walked and taught, conducted infrastructural works and improved amenities, distributed thousands of Buddhist books, and offered Sanghadana in multiple locations across the great subcontinent. But it is the warm-hearted and welcoming response of the Indian people and their government that I really wanted to mention here. With the former President of India, the Honorable Sri Ram Nath Kovind, opening the International Chanting Ceremony last year, and major conferences and gatherings in process this year involving senior representatives from all Buddhist countries of the world. It is again to its true place of preeminence in world affairs, whilst at the same time reviving its ancient dharmic traditions and the wisdom they express and preserve. All Buddhists look to the holy land of Aryadesh, the sacred land where the Buddha walked and taught, both for inspiration and reverence. That the tradition is growing so strongly in its homeland is a source of great pride and joy. And it is so exciting to hear that an international exhibition about the great University of Nalanda is being considered. It is also wonderful that we are gathered here in this new land, the shining Siddhartha of America, and that we can bring the deep wisdom of the ancients to offer comfort and support to all. It is so delightful to see the expansion of Vesak ceremony and the events springing up in Buddhist embassies to support it. May I offer my deepest appreciation to the Indian ambassador for extending the hospitality of India to us here. And may I express the wish that we continue to work closely together, both here in America and in India, for many, many years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wangmo. Now I invite Ms. Erika Moritz-Sugu, Deputy Assistant to the US President and AA and NHPI Senior Liaison to the Office of Chief of Staff for her remarks.
Thank you, Your Excellency, and thank you, Mr. Ambassador, for welcoming us here today on this very auspicious occasion. As was mentioned, I'm Erika Moritz-Sugu. I serve as one of the President's deputies and the first ever Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander senior liaison to the White House, where I represent our Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander communities as a collective to the President, but I also represent the President to our communities, both in the powerfulness of our history and our story and our narrative, but also specifically about the constituent components of what makes each community that's a part of the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander community special and unique, and how it builds into what is actually the American story, which is one of the reasons why, as President Dixon has mentioned, that we have now, for the third time ever, only ever, celebrated the Holy Day of Vesak today in honor of Lord Buddha. That was spearheaded by this president and Kamala Harris, our first ever Indian American vice president woman. Her husband has hosted us for 3 years because he knows how important this story has built into the fabric, how important this community and the motherlands of the birth of the Buddha has built into what makes us American, and proud to be Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander, proud to be American, proud to be South Asian, globally. And that is the gift that I have the honor of bringing the message today of the pride that we have in the Indian American community, in our strong and enduring and sustained relationship on a bilateral basis. Because as the President has said, foreign policy is domestic policy. It's represented here in this room. It was represented this morning at the White House, and the past 2 years that President Dixie has helped us to build with the 3 strands of Buddhism traditionally, but also the practice that is here for Americans and globally, which is one of the many, many reasons that it was a joy to build this out. The first year that we did this, when we were first sworn in, and the second gentleman, Doug Emhoff, welcomed Ms. Dixie and her venerables from 3 streams. It was during the pandemic time. It was in a very intimate room. It was extremely special. And we asked questions because we wanted to learn and know and internalize what knitted this into the American story and how we do our business. And then last year, the second time ever at the White House, we held a ceremony with the butter lamps and the venerables and more community leaders on the Vice President's balcony. And this morning, times 10, with the partnership of our international partners and their diaspora and their venerables, to celebrate on a larger basis. Last night when I was walking home, 11:30 at night, the eve of the full moon, which is what marks this calendar year to determine what day we celebrate Vesak, it was bright blue skies, a couple of fluffy, happy, joyful, illuminated clouds, illuminated by the almost full moon, which will be upon us tonight. And so today we join our national Buddhists, our larger American community, and around the world in celebrating the most holy day of Vesak. This year takes on special significance, marking the 2600th birthday of Gautama Buddha, and reminding of his teaching of love, kindness, peace of mind, and path to happiness. On this sacred day, we recommit to upholding the universal principles of compassion, love, and respect for human dignity, and do our part in spreading joy, healing, peace, and unity. And may our individual candles and our collective lighting and illumination as we celebrate this joyful day illuminate the darkness and inspire others to remain united in keeping the faith. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Erika. It is an honor for us to have in our midst Venerable Bhikkhuni Sungak Kyungai Han, who is the chairperson of the Korean Bhikkhuni Sangh in America. I request Venerable Bhikkhuni Sungak for her remarks.
Thank you very much inviting me. I'm a lot of joy at the White House, and thank you very much. Great lunch. Vesak Day, we called in Korean as 부처님 오신 날, another word, Buddha's birthday, is historical, actually national holiday in Korea. As everybody is like a national holiday, it's free. No working. Buddha's birthday is not only a national holiday for the people. There are many things to do during Buddha's birthday, like visiting temple, attending worship, eating for free temple food, especially is a vegetarian food, very nice, and seeing or attending Lotus Lantern Festival. This Lotus Lantern Festival is very great. It is a Korean word, 연등회. 연등회 was listed by UNESCO as an intangible cultural heritage. I'm a bhikkhuni, female monk. I hope more female monks join with us. Female monk as a bhikkhuni means fully ordained female Buddhist monastic. I am very lucky because I ordained Buddhism. 2,600 years ago, yes, Buddha, the most wise, enlightened thing, because he allowed us become bhikkhuni, isn't it? Just back to the history, the story of the bhikkhuni order begins about 5 years after the Buddha enlightenment, very early stage. The first bhikkhuni was Mahapajapati. Mahapajapati was one of the first strong bhikkhuni leaders in the Buddha's Sangha. She brought many women, almost 500, into the Sangha. Buddha opened the door for women to be ordained because enlightenment was possibility for all human beings. We had been many enlightened bhikkhunis for the 2,600 years Buddhist history. India is motherland of Buddhism. Yes, motherland. Mahayana Buddhism spread from India to Northern Asia. Another part, Theravada Buddhism, spread from India to Sri Lanka and from there to Southeast Asia, and with it spread the Bhikkhuni Sangha. 700 years the Bhikkhuni Sangha was well established in Sri Lanka. Bhikkhuni Sangha sent China, Korea, Japan. Now, Bhikkhuni Sangha strongly spread in the world and get many great results. We share our skills for the people in the community. We are female. We can support mother and children. A lot of that side. We are practice hard because people live happily and peacefully spend their life. Buddhist temple in Korea, I come from Joge order of Korean Buddhism. Also, I'm a chairperson of Korean American Buddhist Sangha Association, actually. Buddhist temple in Korea, bhikkhunis are working, praying, same as bhikkhu. Also, I'm a pray for service for funeral service also. Bhikkhunis are treated relatively equally to bhikkhus in Korea. Please remember, the fourfold assembly sangha is bhikkhu, bhikkhuni, layman, ubase, laywoman, ubai. Desk or chair has 4 legs. If 4 legs is strong, table also very strong. We can support this community more strongly, more diversity. I know I'm a minority. In Buddhism, I'm very, very lucky. We must help and support each other. Today, yesterday, we called present, past, future. Present is a gift. We can change the history only today. Past, no more change. It's fixed. Future, not come yet. We can change right now. With all we look at that. Our rope, different color, different shape, mostly shaved hair. That's what we know, oh, he's a monk, or bhikkhuni, or bhikkhu, bhikshu, bhikkhuni, bhikshuni. And that we, bhikkhu, bhikkhuni, support each other. And now we face in the United States. Even though coming from different, bring to the different heritage, culture, bring in the United States. Think about that. We are very strong. United States every year increased Buddhist population. We not enough bhikkhu and bhikkhunis. We need more bhikkhu, bhikkhunis. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Venerable Bhikkhuni. We have also received a message from Secretary General of International Buddhist Confederation, Dr. Dhammapiya, and Director General IBC, Mr. Haldar. It's a brief message which I would like to read out. A message of peace at the occasion of full moon day of Vesak Buddha Purnima. On the auspicious occasion of full moon day of Vesak Buddha Purnima, the triple blessed day, the day of the birth of Bodhisattva Siddhartha, the day of his enlightenment, and also the day of his great demise, Mahaparinirvan, the International Buddhist Confederation and the members congratulate you all and wish a happy Vesak day. The significance of the day is to reflect on the universal teachings of Lord Buddha and to practice it in our daily life and work for peace and happiness, recognize our common humanity, respect and preserve the nature that surrounds us, and cultivate humility and compassion. My dear Dhamma friends, the IBC is a Buddhist umbrella body and with its base in New Delhi, it serves as a common platform for Buddhists worldwide. The recent Global Buddhist Summit 2023, held on April 20 and 21, was a clear indication of the faith and confidence of the global Buddhist community, the faith which it has bestowed on the IBC, with more than 170 foreign delegates from 32 countries attending the event. The summit was marked by the presence of the senior-most Sangha leaders from the world over. Besides top academicians and scholars, our Honorable Prime Minister inaugurated the event. His Holiness the Dalai Lama also attended the event on April 21. We would like to thank the Indian Embassy for giving us the opportunity to participate in this sacred day of Vesak. We would like to reiterate that the International Buddhist Confederation is committed to providing a unified platform for all Buddhist traditions and organizations worldwide, and to ensure that the path of Dhamma remains relevant in society's changing landscape. May all beings be happy. Thank you. We also have amongst us renowned scholar on Buddhism, Professor B.N. Hebbar, who will be presenting a discourse on India's Buddhist heritage and Buddha's message to the world. Professor Hebbar has a Doctor of Philosophy degree from the University of Utrecht, Netherlands, a Doctor of Divinity degree from SGUI, and a Doctor of Literature from the University of South Africa. He has lectured extensively on Buddhism and Hinduism in North America, Europe, and Asia. He is the former Executive Vice President to the DC Area International Buddhist Committee. He currently teaches at the George Washington University, where he received the Bender Award in 2006 for excellence in education. Dr. Hebbar, please.
Your Excellency, Right Honorable Mr. Sandhu, the Ambassador of the Republic of India to the United States, the venerable monastics from all the three major branches of Buddhism, Theravada, Mahayana, and Vajrayana, IBA President Mrs. Dixie, Chairman of the IBA, Venerable Uparatna, Mr. Narasimhan, who made Vesak at the White House possible for so many years, members and staff of the Embassy of India, thank you so much for your wonderful lunch and for welcoming us here with such gracious sense of being hosts at this wonderful embassy. So with that, I would like to present within as short a time as possible about a lecture about the 9 holiest places of Buddhist pilgrimage in Nepal and India. So, that's Queen Mahamaya, the mother of Prince Siddhartha, the person who is yet to become the Buddha. She was on her way to her father's place, and outside of her husband's capital rather, Kapilavastu, the situation of the time of delivery of the child came, and without causing any labor pains to his mother, the Blessed One to be was born. You can see him with the index finger both down and up on each one of his hands. And of course, she being a queen, she had many ladies in waiting. And as the young prince stepped out, it is said according to Buddhist hagiology, lotus flowers sprang up from beneath the feet. And the 2 gestures in his hand that he has come into this samsara to teach a transcendental teaching, a Lokottara teaching. This is how that place looks like in Lumbini, Nepal, the site of Lord Buddha, whose birth took place in the year 563 BC. The enlightenment of the monk Gautama, because that's how he was known by his patronymic before he became the enlightened one. And this is, of course, took place at Gaya, which from then on came to be known as Bodh Gaya, at the base of the Bodhi tree, where he made a vow that he would not get up until he has found the solution, the spiritual solution, that is, as to why there is suffering for all of humanity and what the way out of that suffering is, which he enunciated in the Noble Eightfold Path. So that's the place now, the Vajra seat as it is called, the sacred Bodhi tree, and you can see monastics coming and chanting and meditating, and it is the holiest site of the Buddha Dharma. So that this huge image, giant-sized image, was presented by the Japanese Buddhist community, and you can see many of the viharas of all the Buddhist nations in many of these holy sites, not just here. So just wanted to present that to you. Then, after his enlightenment, he came to Sarnath, which is not too far from Benares, or Varanasi as it is referred to. So that's making it both the holy site for the Hindus as well as the Buddhists. And there he delivered his first sermon, talking about the three marks of existence, the 12-fold wheel of causality, the Four Noble Truths, and finally the solution. That those three are his theoretical teachings. The practical side of his teaching is the Noble Eightfold Path. Theory without practice is lame, and practice without theory is blind. Like the lame man and the blind man, they need each other. Philosophy and religion are like that. So therefore, the first 5 monastics who had initially abandoned him now became his disciples, who were lucky enough to hear that cardinal message that Lord Buddha was to present. So that's the stupa at Sarnath today, and Emperor Ashoka is given the credit of building that stupa, and of course his enlightenment and first sermon took place in the year 528 BC, and I've pointed out to you where each of these places are in terms of the geography of India, so whether it's in Bihar or Pradesh, so you can read that. So another important place is Sankasya or Sankisa, known variously. It is said that it is at that place that Lord Buddha descended after teaching the Abhidharma to his mother. She was at that point in time in the Tushita heaven. And you can see the gods Brahma and Indra holding the parasol as the Buddha descended down. That place is not too far from the capital city of Delhi. I believe it is close to Mathura. So that exact spot, again, marked with the lion capital of Emperor Ashoka and the place at Sankisa. So this is Savatthi. The Buddha spent 24 Vassa retreats there between 527 and 503 BC. And that spot where he sat and delivered his teachings is that area. Now you can see it's very gracefully ornamented with various kinds of flowers by devotees and pilgrims, etc. In fact, His Holiness the Dalai Lama always used to say, Bodh Gaya is important, but do not forget Savatthi, he would say. That Shravasti is the Sanskrit name, Savatthi is in Pali. So, very important place because, and actually, many of Lord Buddha's lay disciples came from there, especially two people I can mention. One was this extraordinary merchant who would do anything for Lord Buddha, and that was Anathapindika. His real name was Sudatta. But he was such a generous person that he would give out a lot of his wealth in doing charity, and so he earned the name Anathapindika, the person who takes care of the destitute. And the other one is the Lady Visakha. She too was an extraordinary lady who was such a dedicated disciple. Both of these people never became monastics. That is important to know. They remained upasaka and upasika, which is layman and laywoman, which the Venerable Bhikkhuni from the Korean Sangha narrated to us. And I believe, given all the incidents that have happened ever since the year 2005, the Marn Visakha is sitting right here in front of us, and that is the president of the IBA, Mrs. Wang Modixi. She has done a lot for the Buddha Dharma, both back home in India as well as in the United States. She has some magic. I don't know what it is, but it happens. So, let's go to the next. So this is the Venerables Sariputta and Mahamoggallana. Both of them predeceased the Buddha. Had they been alive, perhaps he would have appointed them his chief apostles to spread the Buddha Dharma. They actually died 15 days apart from each other. And their mortal remains are enshrined today at the Sanchi Stupa. So this is the only one that is a little bit outside the circuit because most of them are either in Bihar or Uttar Pradesh. Lumbini is, of course, in Nepal. But this is in the state of Madhya Pradesh, so you have to go a little bit off the circuit. So this is the 9th place. Mrs. Dixie always has the 8th circuit, place circuit tour. I told her to add this one in my email to her, so hopefully from this year onward, this is very, very important because Mahamoggallana and Sariputta are very, very important disciples of Buddha. So this is coming to the parinirvana. Remember, all of those took place on the same day according to the Theravada and Vajrayana traditions, but the Mahayana is slightly different. We know that. So here is this person, Subhadra, coming and seeking the audience with the Buddha at the time of the parinirvana, and the Blessed Ananda, who was his attendant for the last 28 years of his life. He was, Subhadra, who had come from a long distance, was able to hear the final sermon of the Lord Buddha. This was in the year 483 BC. So that place that His Excellency the Ambassador also mentioned, and also Councillor Sharma mentioned today, was Kushinagar, where Prime Minister Modi opened the international airport, and he had invited all of the ambassadors of the Buddhist countries who were accredited to New Delhi. So they were all there, and so that blessed place is another one in terms of holy places. So Rajagaha, the site of the first Buddhist council that took place in the rainy season of 483 BC, the 3 monks that were asked to sit in presidium over the first council were the monks Ananda, Upali, who was a great monastic in terms of as far as the authority on the Buddhist Vinaya, and then you had Mahakassapa, who was the Buddha's most intelligent disciple and authority on the Abhidharma. So all of these then In fact, it was done under the patronage of King Ajatasattu of Magadha at that time. So that's the picture of the first Buddhist council. You can see King Ajatasattu sitting there. He's the only one who is a non-monastic. And the three monks who I just now mentioned are sitting there, holding the assembly of 500 delegates who were part of the first Buddhist council. So this is another pavilion that was built by King Ajatasattu because at one point in time, Ajatasattu came to know about it and he said, "You should have asked me." And then at that point in time, I think the Venerable Ananda reminded him, monks don't ask for anything. It is your job as the layman to find out what we need. And then the pavilion was built. So this is very important. The Giddakuta Parvata, as it is referred to, or the vulture peak, it is said this is where the Mahayana Sutras came into being. At least that is one theory about it. So all the Mahayana, to the Mahayana Buddhist world, this is as sainted a place as Bodh Gaya is. So this is the spot where the Buddha delivered it to his select disciples, and all the sutras that we know, the Mahayana Buddhist world, like the Heart Sutra or the Lotus Sutra, and so on and so forth, all those Mahayana sutras were at this place. So I've given you one example. I guess this is of the Lotus Sutra, because Lotus Sutra is considered very important in many schools of Mahayana Buddhist thought. Its original Sanskrit name is the Saddharma Pundarika Sutra, and then you have the Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Vietnamese, and then the Vajrayana countries, Tibetan and Mongolia, and then of course English in the end. So like that, each one of these sutras, because these scriptures are important in the Mahayana Buddhist world. So this is the site of the second Buddhist council that took place in 386 BC, and you can see Emperor Ashoka's lion capital there and the stupa. So this is 100 years removed after the Mahaparinirvana of the Buddha. So these are, if you want it in a synoptic fashion, geographically speaking, that's where all your 9 places that I just now narrated, the Buddhist historical sites, are all there for you, every one of them. Besides that, you have the Ajanta caves in Aurangabad, Maharashtra, built during this period from 100 BC to 680 Common Era, and this was found by accident. And then once people went in, they found the glory of Buddhist India. So in many, many places you can find this. This is just one living example of that archaeological legacy of the Buddhist heritage. But pretty much in every corner of India, even as far south as Kerala, you can see images of the Buddha being unearthed. So it is truly, in that sense, an extraordinary land. See, we must understand that India is a very special land in many, many ways. It is not only the home of Hinduism, the birthplace of Buddhism. It is also the birthplace of Jainism and Sikhism, and the refuge of Zoroastrianism. So, it is an extraordinary land. So that's the stupa hall in the Ajanta caves. Look at the awesome feeling that one gets looking at the stupa. There's the Ellora caves, which are sort of, we always talk about Ajanta and Ellora together. This is built in a shorter period. And this is Mrs. Wangmo Dixie, the president of the IBA, her honorable husband, Dr. Dixie, and then that, of course, in the center is the former president of India, Mr. Koh. This I don't have to tell you. This was last year. Today we saw a huge version. Next year it's not going to be huge, it's going to be gigantic. And then it will keep growing as much as the Empire State Building, I guess. So these are the nations of the Buddhist world. I've classified them. Of course, the birthplace of the Buddha is in Lumbini, Nepal. All the remaining ones, of course, are the birthplace of Buddhism, you might say, as against the Buddha are in India. So those are Theravada Buddhist nations: Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, and Cambodia. The Mahayana Buddhist world: Vietnam, Taiwan, South Korea, Japan. China. Only case is, in the case of Japan, the Buddhism has to share its fortunes with the native religion of Japan, Shinto, and in the case of China, with its two native traditions, Taoism and Confucianism. And then you have finally the Vajrayana Buddhist world: Tibet, Bhutan, the Sikkim and the Ladakh regions of India, Mongolia, and also the Kalmyk region of the Russian Federation. So with this, I'd like to end today's talk, and I thank the Embassy of India and Ambassador Sundar for getting us here and organizing this, and we are very, very grateful to him. Dhammo have rakhati dhammacadin eragata 410. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thanks as always, Professor Hebbar. The last presentation from Embassy is from one of our leading diaspora artists, Ms. Pranitha Akula, and her group members, Elil Shunmugavel, Kritika Sundeswaram, and Soumya Hariharan from Ekyam Selva Natanam group, who will present Buddha Vandana in classical Indian dance style Bharatnatyam. This tribute to Lord Buddha depicts episodes from the life of Lord Buddha, how he was tested for staying steadfast to his principles and his evolution to moksha and beyond. Ms. Pranitha is a dancer and teacher who connects cultures through dance and her experience as an educator. She has an extensive experience spanning over a decade in teaching classical Indian dance, including with the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. Ms. Pranitha.
Namaste, everyone. It is indeed an honor to be here on this very auspicious day, the full moon day, and in celebration and veneration of Lord Buddha and his teachings. In complement to Professor Hebbar's talk, we bring you a dance drama, a small version of a dance drama, about the life of Buddha and his teachings, and particularly an episode which exemplifies his true meditation. We rejoice in Buddha through describing his qualities in the form of a dance drama. This is in the style of Bharatanatyam dance. As we wear the traditional costume, following the traditional Natya Shastra, we still remain humble in his presence and teachings. We open by saying, "O Buddha, it is you who was not only born, but received enlightenment on this day, and it is to you we surrender." The drama begins in the forest where Gautama sits under the Bodhi tree in deep meditation. He has taken this journey after leaving his father's palace in search of understanding the real world. Upon witnessing all the suffering in the world, he vows to help humanity through meditation. After weeks pass by of meditation and starvation, he finally reaches enlightenment and thus becomes the Buddha. The 7 weeks that follow bring him obstacles which attempt to disturb him and wake him from his introspective state. We depict one such episode today. A harsh rainstorm falls, which is meant to interrupt the Buddha's inner peace and meditation because of his true intentions and dedication. The great cobra, Mukhalinda, sees him and senses what is happening with the rain. and decides to coil around the Buddha to protect him. Defeated, the rain goes away. These are events in Buddha's life which exemplify his determination to maintain his inner peace and spread his message of loving kindness and many teachings. This dance drama is a compilation of Carnatic and Hindustani music with many musicians and composers. Pandit Somya Chakravarti, he has composed a piece in Desh Madhya Teen Tal and Mian Malar Drut Teen Tal. J. Parekh with original tabla compositions. Mallari is composed by Ramaswamy Dikshitar. Music and choreography by Srimati Shanta and VP Dhananjayan, with stylistic choreography by Srimati Veena Argade. This piece was choreographed by myself, Pranita Akula, and my esteemed guru, Srimati Veena Argade, with choreographic stylization. Thank you very much, and we present to you Buddha Vandana.
wonderful performance. Please come. On behalf of all of us, I would like to present our token of appreciation to Petra and group. Thank you. With this, we come to an end of our celebrations today. I would once again like to thank all the attendees and the performing group for joining us. Bhavattu Sab Mangalam. May all be well. Thank you. Jai Hind.